I'm not going to tell you every day is rainbows and sunshine and all that kind of stuff because it's not, and I'd be
Mhm.
lying if I said it was. But having been in other jobs, I can tell you I really enjoy what I do. I'm
Mhm.
really fortunate to be in the placement that I'm in right now because
Nice.
I have a passion for it. I ended up picking up an endorsement for a transition to work in Ohio, and basically that's like expert on transitions,
Mhm.
transitioning students from the middle school and high school into the workforce. And that's really what I'm passionate about. So many people previously, and I'm still fighting the battle now, that just want to get the kids that we teach through school
Mhm.
with no plan.
Yeah.
And that's not what's best for them. That's not what's best for society,
Yeah.
So trying to
Graduating them to the
find
couch,
them,
right?
yeah, trying to find some level of independence
Right.
for them, but
Absolutely.
also being productive.
Mhm.
There's ways to be productive besides being a factory worker or
Right.
besides, being,
Grocery
some kind of
bagger.
manufacturer.
Mhm.
There's other ways to be productive, and that's what I like to do with them. And I'm fortunate in the position that I'm at now.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Brighter Together podcast. My name is Janet Courtney, and my special guest today is John Ischy. John, I am going to get it out, I swear. He is an intervention specialist at Switzerland of Ohio Local School Districts, and he's going to explain that to us. And
Mm.
he is in Woodsfield, Ohio. John, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
After that crazy introduction, right? So tell us, John, a little bit about how you became an intervention specialist. Tell some people what that is because they may not know. And tell us
So
a little
intervention
bit. Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
Yeah, I apologize.
No, you're
So
fine.
intervention specialist is basically the name we use in Ohio for a special education teacher.
Okay.
I've done everything from self-contained classrooms to inclusion classrooms. I actually have a pretty neat classroom now that I'm sure I'll be talking to you about here shortly. Um, as far as becoming an intervention specialist, originally went to school right after high school, and I got to be in one semester away from graduation and had a job opportunity not in the field that I was studying in education. And it was going to be a good paying job. And, I was burnt out on school, and I left college early and went and did this job. And I was actually in retail, which is what it was, until I was 32 years old. And I finished up as a manager for a large national chain, and I was just coming home miserable every day, bringing work home with me, and just not a good person to be around. And my wife just finally told me, she's like, "You've got to make a change, and you've got to make a change for you, and you got to make a change for our family." And she fortunately had a nice job and that allowed me to go back to school and finish up. So I went back and finished my bachelor's degree, and I finished that up in a little under a year. And I just decided to go right into my master's degree in special education, and did that in, I want to say it was like 18 months, finished
Yeah.
that up.
It's
And
amazing
then
when you're motivated, right?
it's amazing when you're motivated and you wanna do something different and you're paying for it all
Mm-hmm.
yourself,
Mm-hmm.
you
Yeah,
know?
for sure.
Um, and I was fortunate enough that, because of our location, which I'll talk about that here shortly, we couldn't find a position for an intervention specialist, and so I was able to do my student teaching as a long-term sub, which my university allowed me to do.
Oh, nice.
So I got right in there, at least got some pay and stuff like that. And I look back at it now, that was my first year, probably my worst and toughest year as far as experience goes,
Mm-hmm.
but the year I learned the most
Of
from.
course, right. Yeah.
And it, you know, I'm not going to tell you every day is rainbows and sunshine and all that kind of stuff because it's not. And I'd be
Mm-hmm.
lying if I said it was. But having been in other jobs, I can tell you I really enjoy what I do. I'm
Mm-hmm.
really fortunate to be in the placement that I'm in right now because
Nice.
I have a passion for it. I ended up picking up an endorsement for transition to work in Ohio, and basically that's like expert on transitions,
Mm-hmm.
transitioning students from the middle school and high school into the workforce. And that's really what I'm passionate about. So many people previously, and I'm still fighting the battle now, that just want to get the kids that we teach through school
Mm-hmm.
with no plan.
Yeah.
And that's not what's best for them. That's not what's best for society,
Yeah.
So trying to
Graduating them to the
find
couch,
them,
right?
yeah, trying to find some level of independence
Right.
for them, but
Absolutely.
also being productive.
Mm-hmm.
There's ways to be productive besides being a factory worker or
Right.
besides, being,
Grocery
some kind of
bagger.
manufacturer.
Mm-hmm.
There's other ways to be productive, and that's what I like to do with them. And I'm fortunate in the position that I'm at now, which, if it's okay with you, I'm just going to kind of talk about it a little
Oh,
bit while we're
absolutely.
right here.
Absolutely. Tell us about it.
So I do a little bit. I multitask during the day. So do inclusion work in math and science here at the junior high. Um, and then I do intervention for K4 in the morning at at the elementary school, and I do 5-6 in the afternoon. And then I also have 2 periods, which is what I like. It's kind of the placement that I'm in right now. It's called the PAYS Lab, and what that stands for is Practical Assessment Evaluation System. And basically what we do is career exploration and career training before the vocational level. And we've really expanded this, but year 1, we have all these prefabricated jobs. There's like almost 400 in the classroom, and everything's lined out from the instructions to the materials they need, and they're designed to simulate different jobs that you might find in any environment, whether it's here locally or whether it would be if they moved somewhere. And through that, we're able to document what their strengths and what their opportunities are, what accommodations they may need. Like, they may be successful at something that somebody might not expect, but they need a certain accommodation for that. So we're able to document all that, and then we're able to kind of drive their transition planning through that process. So, you know, in the past, in our district, it was almost always get them to 11th grade, get them to vocational school, get them their high school diploma, and then they got to figure out the rest of their world. Now it's not so much that way. We can kind of plan for them and help drive what they want to do, because they can test a bunch of different career opportunities to see what they like and what they'd be interested in, and also things that they thought they wanted to do. Now they can test that out and go, you know what, I don't really like that, or that's got a lot of math involved, and I'm not really good at math, so maybe I need to look at something else. So that when we send them to vocational school, or I'll talk about the other part of that in a second. If we send them to vocational school, we can, help drive what would be the best fit for them as far as the programs offered. And we're one of the few districts that have our own vocational school. Uh, yeah, so that helps. And then I can give to those teachers, what those students are going to need to be successful in their classroom, or to pass their certification tests. Um, the other side of that is, and I've had a lot of success with this, students that maybe weren't gonna, or, for whatever reason, didn't want to go to vocational school or weren't vocational bound. We have been able to partner with local businesses and do some job placement, and I'll go with them and help them train on different jobs and learn. And most of them have been paid, like almost like a paid internship, and so they've got taste on that. I had success with a student. It's been a few years now, but we placed them at the local cabinetry shop, and they couldn't run the machinery because they were under 18 yet, from their labor, but they were able to do everything else, including helping to load the materials and stuff. And this was a student that nobody thought was ever going to be able to be independent. He ended up, through his work, decided he wanted to go into our maritime academy at the at the vocational school, and he graduated with his certification in maritime, and he's now full-time employed on a riverboat out on the High River.
Wow. Good for him. That
That
is amazing.
that's a success story right
Yeah.
there.
Yeah. And
So,
those are the ones that just grab you and you just go, this is why I do what I do, right? This
yep,
is the reason. Those kids, and we don't get the wins like that all the time, but boy, when you have them, it makes all of the other days just 100%
absolutely,
worth it. Yeah.
absolutely.
Yeah. Oh, good for, and the kids are better off because you're there and you're cheering them on and you're helping them and you're working with them, had they been somewhere else, they wouldn't have had that opportunity.
No, this was something new that we started. I believe it was 2018. It was right before COVID,
Mm-hmm.
and you know it was really taken off, and then COVID kind of knocked down the work placement part for a couple of
Yeah.
years. You know what I mean? Because
Mm-hmm.
the
Yeah.
liability and all that kind of stuff. But we're working back in that direction now. But we've been able to expand it. I was able fortunate enough through my district, they purchased a. I did all the research and everything that I could, a VR system for me,
Uh-huh.
and it's
Virtual
called
reality.
Transfer V. Yeah, it's called Transfer VR. And I had researched several different ones that were out there, and this just seemed like the best fit. And it has been everything we wanted and more. Matter of fact, everybody that comes to and observes my classroom, when they see the kid, because I can cast it
Ah,
up on
okay. So you can see what
on
they're
the white
seeing. Yeah.
while they're doing it, and you can see exactly what they're doing. It's really it's quite amazing. I mean, not just the fact that it looks kind of real, but just I never would have thought they could have done that. And
Right.
here they're proving right there, and it gathers all the data for me, lets me know exactly how they're doing, their proficiency, where they're struggling, all that kind of stuff. So
Wow.
it's been a really nice system to have.
Awesome. So tell us, why Switzerland of Ohio Local School District? How come you have a name like that?
So we are the largest geographic school district in the state of Ohio. We encompass all of Monroe County, part of Belmont County, part of Washington County, part of Noble County, and just a little sliver of Guernsey County. So I guess that's and plus when you look around, we're really hilly and rural and stuff like that. So it kind of reminds you, I guess, of Switzerland, as far as that goes, without the snow on the mountaintops. But um, and there's a lot of German heritage in this area too. So that would be another reason as far as that goes. But that we have currently 2 high schools. I'm trying to remember, I think 5, 6 elementaries in our district. We're about 2,000 students, which isn't a huge number, but that's just because we're all so spread out. I'm fortunate I teach on the Woodsville campus, which has our Woodsville Elementary and Monroe Central High School. But it's I grew up in this area. Uh, in previous work experience, I lived in DC area. I lived in West Virginia and stuff like that. And I just wanted to get back home once I got married and started having kids and decided to go back to school. And this is where I want to be because I want to impact the kids from where I used to grow up. And the thing about it is the industry and stuff has really declined from when I was a child. So job opportunities here aren't as prolific as what they used to be as at this time. So these kids that want some kind of positive transition are probably going to have to move. So we got to make sure they have the skills to be able to do that.
There is a crisis in this country, a massive shortage of special education teachers. We know how devastating this can be for your students, families, and staff. Lighthouse Therapy places experienced special education teachers in virtual, hybrid, and on site roles, and we handle everything from hiring to onboarding to mentorship. These aren't just placements, they're professionals who understand compliance, collaboration, and care. Let us help you fill in the gaps with special education teachers who really understand. We are here to help. Visit lighthouse-therapy.com/brighter together to connect with us today. Yeah, yeah, and that's the part of getting out of high school is doing all of those things and figuring out where you want to go. And I don't know, it took me a while.
Uh, Hey, listen, you heard my story,
I
so
know.
I mean, I've been around too, but
Yeah.
I've got a son that wants to go to vocational school. He's a freshman in high school, and he wants to go into heavy equipment and welding, and I'm
Mhm.
supporting that. We're gonna need that.
Yeah.
But, even him, he's probably gonna have to travel at least an hour away for work, once he
Wow.
gets full certification. So I'm supporting him and trying to make sure he does that. But then my daughter, who's in junior high, she wants to be, at least at this time, she wants to be in some kind of animal health field,
Mhm.
whether it be a full-fledged vet or not. So she needs a different kind of skill set. We
Right.
need to make sure she has those skills too. So,
And I love that because that's something that I've been seeing a lot, and it's been a repeating theme is individualized education plans aren't just for special needs kids anymore. Really need to look at each child and where their interests are and what are they going to do with their high school diploma and where are they going after, and some kids are coming out with their associate's degrees and all kinds of different things, and I've talked to so many career and technical education people who really just have a passion for where do you want to go, what can we, and how can we help you to get there, and it's really amazing because these kids aren't just graduating from high school and then going and working, and there's nothing wrong with working in a factory, please don't hear that from me, but not everybody wants to do that and not everybody needs to do that, and so it's really good to have other, and not everybody needs a 4-year degree or a master's like you and I. We had to go get our master's to do what we do, but not everybody needs that. And it's funny you said you went back because my husband did the same thing. He went to school, got one semester away from getting his degree, got a job, and then didn't finish. He got his associates, but didn't get his bachelor's. And then he, at 40, lost his job during the recession and went back full time. And that's why I was like, when you're motivated, it's the same thing. He was taking anywhere from 16 to 24 credits a semester and he graduated
yep.
with honors. But boy, when you are motivated and paying for it, it's a whole different ball game. Yeah.
Absolutely, absolutely, and
Yeah.
that's the thing for the kids. I'm not, I'm not thinking that they'll stay 40 years in one
No,
specific
no.
job. I mean, I think those days have gone the
Rather that.
wayside,
Yep.
but
Mm-hmm.
they need to have the skills to be able to do whatever kind of field they want to do.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, that's the thing. We have to think outside the box with that. There's no cookie cutter plan anymore going
Mm-mm.
through the school system.
Yeah.
And I don't I think we're getting better. I don't think we're fully fledged. I mean, I think to me, already starting junior high level, you've got to be thinking career planning with those kids because they're not thinking about it yet. They're
No,
thinking,
of
I
course
still
not.
got
Yeah.
4, 5, 6 years of school. Yeah, that's going to go by fast. So
Mm-hmm.
what do we want to do so that we know that you take the things you need to in order to be best prepared? So
Mm-hmm. Yep. And if it changes, that's okay. You can change your mind. It's okay to
yeah,
change your mind. It really is.
absolutely.
don't
Yep,
don't do something you hate and be miserable just
absolutely.
because it's a good paycheck. That's a when you can do what you love and make money at it and get up and love that every day, you never work another day in your life. It is the
That's very
best
true.
place to be. That's where I'm at right
Yep.
now. I love what I am doing. I love doing these podcasts. I love, I start, you want to talk about a career change, and it was and it wasn't, but 2018 is when we established Lighthouse Therapy. I never meant to be a business owner and an entrepreneur and all of those things that they say I am now. I don't know who they are, but but you just life takes you on a path, and I was very much led by the Lord, and I grabbed onto it, and I had not looked back, and it's been such an incredible blessing because I really do love what I do, and I get to do it every day. So it's pretty cool. Pretty cool. So, all right. So I have one other question for you, John. So if you could, and you can't say money because money, we all need money. Everybody needs more money. Every school that I know of out there that I've talked to needs more money. Somebody needs to listen and start giving our educators more money. But if you could take one thing from your world that is a difficulty or a struggle or whatever, just one thing, and make it so you never had to worry about that one thing again. Miraculously gone, never have to deal with it again.
Uh, that it sounds like a tough question because, like, what would what's that one thing? But it's more tough because there's a few things I can think of. But I guess the main thing is there's still the old mindset of why are we changing? Why are we doing this? Like as far as my program goes. No, I can. We still have some that say no. I can transition plan by giving them surveys or whatever. When I have hardcore data, you know what I mean, that shows them exactly how this kid is performing for transition plans. I guess the one thing that I would say, and I should be careful saying this because I don't want to create more work for myself, but I'm the only one in our district that's got the transition to work endorsement, and I teach in a class that's focused on transition. I probably, if there's one thing I could do, is I would write all the transition plans for all our, our IEPs, because I just feel like we don't put enough stock in that.
Mm,
We that's a compliance piece.
right.
I mean, we
Yeah,
wanna
we've
we
got to
wanna
we've got
check
to have
that
that.
box.
Yeah, you
You
got to
know what I
check that
mean?
box.
And
Yeah, exactly.
instead
I get
of
it.
and to me, I guess I view it differently. Maybe it's because of what I do, I don't
Yeah,
know.
sure.
But I look at it, that's the most important piece,
Hmm.
because by the time you get to the kids at the age levels that I'm teaching now, primarily, 7 through 12, the amount of growth you can make on the reading and math is going to be minimal, and it's going to be teaching them how to overcome what obstacles they have. Like, I don't allow any of my kids, in seventh grade or beyond, to do any math without a calculator. I mean, they're never going to do it in life without a calculator. So, and I probably don't want them to do it without a calculator. So, teach them how to use a calculator properly, or different kind of computing systems, so because that's what they're going to do. And that's just kind of the way I look at it, is I just wish we would all buy in. The ones that have bought into it, they see the value now. It's getting everybody on board is the struggle. And it's just like, we have those success stories like the one I told earlier, and there's others. We can have more of that, and not just with our special ed population. We can have that with all our students if we're willing to invest the time. So
Yeah, yeah. Time and money, right? Time and money.
that's it.
Yeah, always. There's never seems to be enough of time. There never seems to be enough money. It
And
is
it
the
always
truth.
seems like it's the same people that are always doing everything because nobody else wants to do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that in just about in every industry, there's like even at churches, you volunteer. There's those people that volunteer at church, and they're the people that are always there and always doing it. And then there's the other people that aren't.
That's
It's
it.
just the reality of it sometimes.
Yeah.
And more people. Some people are called to do certain things, and others are doing other things, and you know, it's not my place to judge, but
I
it'd be nice
Me
if we
neither.
had more help, wouldn't it be, John?
Yep. Yep. And, I'm gonna keep
Yeah,
advocating. Like I said, when I first started, I don't know that there was hardly any that were on board. And I would say now, it's probably about a 50-50 split. So we'll eventually get there. It's
you're
just
getting there. Yeah,
frustrating when you don't get there when you want to.
right.
So,
Yeah. Well, you just I keep stepping into it. Keep stepping into
yeah.
it. Good for you. So, where do people go, John, if they want to learn a little bit more about what you're doing, or maybe they have a question about this VR or something like that? How do they
So
find
there's a
you?
couple websites. They've changed companies, but it's called worklifeready.com, and you can go backslash and type in PAES and kind of learn about it. That would give you the overview of it. Um, and then for the VR, it's Transfer VR, and you can just Google that, and you can find their website really easy. And you can get every place you go on there, they even have a catalog of all the different jobs. You can see everything that they offer through their VR system. And then they have ways that you can contact them to find out more information. But that would be the quickest and easiest way. Um, and I in my area, and I've always said this, my door is always open. So if anybody's ever down around this area and wants to see it, they can always stop by. and
Does
and
the school
I
have
mean,
a
like I said,
website?
yes, it's through our district. It's swissohio.k12.oh.us, and then you can find our schools there and click on that.
Okay.
Um, but I my room's always open. I know our educational service center, I've done presentations for them. They're out of, Cambridge, Ohio, and they brought people to see what we do, to try to incorporate it into what they're trying to do with transition. Um, you know, I tell people all the time, like, I'm fortunate enough, I've got a good principal and a good assistant principal, And I tell them the same thing, when it's evaluation time that I would tell them if somebody wants to come and see. I don't really need to schedule it. Come and see me because I do the same thing every day.
Every day.
You
You're
know what I
doing, you're
mean?
just
So
keep doing
I
it,
don't even
right?
care about a heads up or anything. You can just come, check in, because we're doing what we're supposed to be doing and working towards the greater good. And I think it's easy when you believe in what you're doing to do that.
Absolutely.
So that would be probably the easiest way. But like I said, those would give you big overviews. People can always contact me too via phone or email, and I'll give them, as much information that I can because I really believe in what we're doing, and I know that there's districts out there because we used to be that way. We're a little bit more of a fortunate district right now because of gas and oil money, but we've been poor. I mean, we've been where we didn't have resources, and you're thinking outside the box, and I still have to do that. I mean, even though we're a little more fortunate now, we know what the current educational atmosphere is. You never know what your funding is going to be. So, I try to self fund and fundraise and do everything I can for my classroom without that assistance, and I wouldn't have been able to do the VR without the district assistance, but luckily they saw the value in what we were doing, and I think my room being open and people coming in and seeing what we're doing. We have a new superintendent this year, and he came and saw, and he's like, "We need to roll this out to more students, than what we're doing." I think that helps promote, the assistance because they go, "This guy's at least using what we give him," instead of, just letting it sit on a shelf. So that would be the biggest advice that I'd give to anybody. And don't be afraid to show your students your passion behind it. I tell them all the time, if they are willing to work, we can get them a job. So.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. That's awesome. All right. Well, John, it has been an absolute pleasure. Thank you so much for your time today and for the kids that you are touching their lives. I know that they are getting the impact that they need. So keep up the good work.
Well, thank you very much for having me.
Absolutely.